What's going on, everybody? My name is Aiden and welcome back to another video. Ladies and gentlemen, it looks like the Cleveland Cavaliers are going truly on their undefeated streak, their Undertaker undefeated streak, as they rise up to 14-0. And although it was a good game by the Bulls, I personally believe the score may not reflect that. With that being said, let's talk about the positives and the negatives of this game against Cleveland in this video. But before we get any further, if you like the video and you want to see more from me, drop a like, drop a follow, and or subscribe if you are new, and let me know in the comments below your thoughts about the Chicago Bulls, their game, and your play of the game overall, at least from the Bulls side of things, as we do fall 144 to 126. Yeah, look, that scoreline doesn't necessarily look well for the Bulls. If you actually watch the game, you would understand it was a lot closer than what that scoreline may reflect. But if you didn't watch that game, you probably would say the Cleveland Cavaliers smashed us the entire way, which wasn't the case. Now, look, Cleveland went on a pretty big run throughout the game. I think they ended up going maybe 15 points clear or something like that, and then the Bulls responded equally at bringing the game back. I think even in the third quarter, we had a little bit of a lead before Cleveland really sealed the deal. But what I liked about the Bulls is their tenacity to fight and compete throughout that game. Yes, it got away from us very late on. Cleveland went on a massive run in like the final 2 minutes of the game. The Bulls had given up, and that is always a situation, especially in the NBA Cup, when the points do matter. It's always a situation where you don't want to see your team give up and fight to the very end, which we didn't see. But ultimately, throughout the game, we were close to competitive with the Cleveland Cavaliers, and I think that's the biggest positive to take away from it. In the two games that we faced, the Cleveland Cavaliers, Cleveland will walk out feeling obviously the superior team, because they are the superior team. They are undefeated still. They've beaten us twice. They'll feel very, very happy with the current situation. For the Bulls, I think we would also feel happy with this type of game, because for most of that game we were fighting with them tooth and nail, competitive almost until the end, and we had a good account of ourselves for the most part. I still think our biggest weakness is our defensive work. Too many times we saw guys not switching to their man, or not stopping the ball in transition, or the pick and rolls, the slips, and all those things were just not guarded well. That's still our biggest problem. 144 points in the game is a massive problem, and that has to be addressed. Again, as good as we are offensively, and I will put us up there with anybody in terms of the offensive end, maybe except for Cleveland, because they're just cooking on both ends. But again, almost anybody I would put our offense up with at this point in time with the form that we are in. Defensively, we have been so bad, it's not even funny. And I think the stats are probably showing we are the worst defensive team in the NBA. That has to be addressed. It's a really, really big problem. And certain guys, in my opinion, are playing a huge factor in this. I want to talk about someone today, ladies and gentlemen, that I don't think I've really talked about, at least in a negative connotation yet. But I want to talk about Josh Giddey. Now, let's take a look at Josh Giddey's stats, ladies and gentlemen, for the Chicago Bulls. He had a 5.1 rebound and 3 assist, or 3 rebound and 1 assist performance, my apologies, in about 15 minutes of action. Now, you're starting to see with Josh Giddey exactly why the Thunder kind of took him out of games in certain situations. Number one, when he is not in a game, it's 4v5 out there, because Josh Giddey needs to be that primary ball handler. He needs to be the facilitator. He needs to be able to make that impact on the offensive end to be effective on the court. When he is taken out of the game offensively, when he's targeted with foul trouble, or when he is just not in rhythm, you start to see the overall negative of Josh Giddey, because he is a liability on the defensive end. Too many times today he got passed by. Too many times today he left his man wide open. Too many times today his rotations weren't great. He looks a step slow defensively. There were times where he was alright, but for the most part he was quite mediocre defensively, and that is why he only played 15 minutes today. Plus the foul trouble that he would put himself under as well. I think Cleveland targeted him, and I think you saw why he was taken out of the game. Now, is this a type of situation we're going to see with Josh Giddey throughout the season? Of course not. I think we put a lot of investment in Josh Giddey, so you're going to see him play, and you're going to see him eventually get back to the best version of Josh Giddey. This might just be an off night for him. But a game like this is why the Bulls, in my opinion, lost today. It's because our point guard, our facilitator, the guy that we need to make the impact, I just think didn't show up to the plate today. And yes, other guys stepped in. in to be a factor. Even though Levine was quite mediocre today in terms of points, he had 8 points, but he also had 9 assists. Zach LaVine kind of took over that role in many ways, but it just isn't really the way that we should be playing, in my opinion. Zach LaVine, his best attribute is to be the scorer. It's nice to see him facilitate, but it's not his primary thing, and it shouldn't be his primary thing. Josh Giddey should be the one doing that. Kobe White should be the one doing that when he is the primary ball handler on the team. And I just felt like roles were kind of switched today. But with that being said, there were some positives to take away from it. I know I'm all doom and gloom at the moment. Maybe it's because I'm sick. I just feel overall negative today. But there were some big positives. Starting off with Patrick Williams. Patrick Williams almost had a double-double with assists. 17 points and 9 assists. And you know what? Kobe White had 29 points today. But I actually think Patrick Williams is my player of the game. I'm going to move quickly into that. I actually think Patrick Williams is my player of the game. 17 points and 9 assists. And the reason why is that when things weren't going right for the Bulls, when we were getting blown out of the water, when we were quite mediocre, when we were kind of stagnant, we gave the ball to Patrick Williams, and he was the difference maker. He became the point forward that I think many people expected him to be. Let's not forget, he was a point guard in high school, and he went to the college game, and he was a bench player there, but he has capabilities of being a point guard from time to time. You saw that with him today with the 9 assists, and he was ultra aggressive in terms of his takes as well. In my opinion, I don't know what the plus-minus necessarily says with Patrick Williams. I'm assuming it's going to be relatively okay, considering I think he was a big part of our run. I'm very impressed with what Patrick Williams was able to bring to the table today. Then obviously you got guys like Vucevic, who was pretty solid, 25 points and 8 rebounds. Kobe White with almost a 30-point performance. He had 29, a big second half once more. Io with 15 points off the bench. I really enjoyed guys like Dalen Terry, Jalen Smith, Bazelis. All these guys played a huge factor, making big threes and helping this team escalate the run a little bit when we were trying to come back. The comeback Bulls were in effect today. It's just that the result wasn't in our effect today, if you know what I mean. So, look, it's a hard pill to swallow, but we all know exactly what Cleveland are right now. If anybody expected Cleveland to just be pushovers in this game when they've been 13-0, you're sadly mistaken. Now, I was one of those people that truly believed we would give Cleveland a loss at some points. And it turns out that's not the case. The only thing that hurts more than not giving Cleveland a loss is the fact that we almost lost by 20 points in an NBA Cup game. And in these games, points matter and wins matter as well. So it's a double-edged sword there. Not only did we lose, but in the end, because we gave up in the fourth quarter, especially in the last 2 minutes, we lost pretty big. And that may come back to bite us if we're going to advance in that tournament. We'll have to wait and see. Time will tell. But that's all I really got to say today against the Bulls and the Cleveland Cavaliers. There should be a Bulls Weekly tomorrow. We'll see how I feel. I'm feeling quite ill, but I'm going to make the show go on until I feel like I can no longer do it. I think I could do it today. We'll see what happens tomorrow, the day after, and so on and so forth. Thank you guys for watching. If you enjoyed the video, feel free to drop a like, follow, answer, or subscribe if you are new, and I will see you in the next one. Stay safe, stay healthy, and stay tuned for more. Take care. And peace.